What's happening, guys? And welcome back to the channel. And it finished Arsenal 0, Chelsea 2 at the Emirates. And Chelsea's unbeaten start to the season continues. 2 wins, 5 goals scored, none conceded. But before we get into all of that, George, your thoughts on the starting lineup? I mean, I thought Trevor Chalobah was a little bit hard done by not to retain his place. And it was great to see Reece James starting at right wing back for his first start of the season. And obviously, with N'Golo Kante missing, slightly unfit, Kovacic obviously slotted in alongside Jorginho. And I think the front three pretty much picked itself on form so far this season. So what were your thoughts? Are you a little bit surprised Ben Chilwell still hasn't played this season?
Yeah, a little bit surprised that Chilwell didn't play today, but there were some surprises in the squad. But I was quite happy with what was out there to get the job done, to be honest with you. I mean, you're right. I think Chalobah was a bit unlucky not to play. But I think when you're playing away at Arsenal, you have to respect them in the fact that it's a bigger task than Palace, perhaps, and we expect those regular players with experience to come back in the fold. So, yeah, but mate, to get that job done with a lot of big players missing that would be regular starters, the likes of Chilwell, Silva, Kante, Werner. I mean, it was crazy to see so many players out and yet such a polished performance. So yeah, I was happy with the lineup, and we got the job done, which is always great news.
And obviously, Lukaku straight into the lineup for his first start of the season. He's funny enough, he's only played 45 minutes in pre-season. He played 45 minutes for Inter Milan, and then he's played no other minutes this pre-season. So he's kept himself in very good condition, looks really sharp. And George, what a performance from him. I mean, I thought the game started pretty well. Arsenal had a few moments first kind of 5 minutes, but after that first 5 minutes, we started going through the gears, and Lukaku was causing all sorts of problems. And before he got his goal, which he fully deserved, you could just see it was exactly what we've been missing in terms of a physical presence up top, holding defenders off, bringing other people into play. The Arsenal defence looked scared of him.
Yeah, I mean, if there was one game to have your debut on, and the one game that would suit a player like Lukaku, it would be against Arsenal, wouldn't it? That physical presence that they struggled so badly with Drogba and Costa, particularly over the years, and a side that, have already been flagged up this early on in the season about not having that aerial presence and not being able to be strong on the ball. And Lukaku just absolutely dominated. It was like men versus boys out there. And you're right, mate. He looked absolutely buzzing to be back, the second coming for Lukaku, and they summed it up perfectly. I mean, it was just the all-rounded centre-forward performance today, bringing others into play, great first touch, getting involved in the build-up, in that 6-yard box, in that presence where the finish comes from, which, you need to make the run. I mean, it looks easy on camera, but, he's got to force past the centre-backs. He's got to get in the right area. He's got to time it right. Should have had a second as well. A fantastic save from Leno to deny him. And, I think Chelsea are so glad to have him back. And he, even when he was clapping the fans in the corner halfway through the game, he's just buzzing to be back, and we're buzzing to have him back. So unbelievable performance from him today.
I mean, it definitely adds an extra dimension to the side, and we do look a far more dangerous proposition. And I'll tell you, another player who I thought did really well today was Reece James. Obviously, coming in for his first minutes of the season, going forward, he was a constant threat down that right hand side. Getting the assist for Lukaku and then producing a great finish himself. What were your thoughts on his performance? Do you think he can really push on again this season after a breakthrough year last year?
Yeah, I think Tuchel's got a slightly different task with the fullbacks this year, because I think last season we didn't have that aerial presence in the box. So I think he almost tucked the two fullbacks. They were a bit more defensively minded, good on the counter-attack. But this season already, you've seen in the 2 games, the amount of crosses and how deep they're coming in. They're almost wingers. I mean, the way they play. So we saw a lot of that. And, Reece James to get the goal and be involved, I think, in the assist for the other one as well. Fantastic from him. Really, really polished performance, and shows the quality that he has. And he was probably unlucky not to feature at all in the England setup. We're just unlucky that, there were players in front of him. But we certainly value him very well at Chelsea, and we're blessed with players in those defensive areas. I think another great performance at the back. Never really had any worries, really, completely dominated. And I mean, again, and on the other side, I mean, Alonso, he's keeping Chilwell out at the moment. Another good performance from him. So everyone was 8 out of 10, if not higher today. I can't fault anyone.
And just a quick word on Reece James before we move on from him. Do you think it's a slight concern? He did look a little bit suspect defensively again today. At times last season, he looked a bit suspect defensively as well, particularly with Saka getting in behind him and obviously the kind of the penalty shout. Is that something he's going to have to really improve on this season in terms of his defensive side of the game?
Well, I think today that's a little bit harsh because I think he had Saka and Smith Rowe on that side to deal with, which are arguably Arsenal's best players. And I thought he coped very well. I thought he muscled them off the ball, linked up well with Azpilicueta. In times when they were in trouble, they did play out the back. They had the confidence to play out of there. I don't think it was a penalty at all. I think he was just stronger. It was shoulder to shoulder. And I don't think there was anything in that. But yeah, you have seen them given. And that has been something that Reece James does need to work on. I agree. I think if there's one area that Tuchel will be wanting to get better at, it's just making those right decisions in those areas, not giving away cheap free kicks where teams could be dangerous. And, if you're doing that against Manchester City, etc., they could punish you. But no, I think we're being harsh on him today. I mean, he was outstanding and had to deal with the biggest players, and he dealt with them very well.
Yeah, another top performance from him. So hopefully he can continue that on throughout the season. But George, it was pretty much kind of I know it's a bit cliche, but almost a game of two halves. The first half we got the job done, and the second half was more about kind of game management, as it were. We were kind of in parts a little bit on the back foot. Arsenal were trying to build up a bit of a head of steam. But we stayed resolute. How impressed are you that this defensive line is still keeping these clean sheets? And it doesn't matter who the personnel are. This time obviously Christensen, Rudiger, and Azpilicueta. We've got the likes of Chalobah, Thiago Silva on the bench, Kurt Zouma not even in a squad, etc. Like the defensive transformation has been unbelievable.
Mate, it's vital because the every time you get a clean sheet, every time you get a win, it's that extra bit of confidence you need to build. Especially so early on the season. Yes, titles can't be won in the first 2-3 games, but they can be lost. I mean, it's look at Arsenal for example already. I mean, if you're going to win a title, you can lose maybe 5 games. If you lose any more than that, you'd be lucky, unless the other teams around you do poorly. But we're looking at 5 games potentially you can lose. So I think a difficult away game on paper. We've got another one against Liverpool next week. And we're just building confidence. If you're not conceding goals, then you feel as though you've got every chance of winning a football match, even if you don't play well. And with players still to come back, I think it's only a positive for Chelsea. And I have to say, I mean, that was one of my concerns in the game. I remember even texting you at 1-0, and I thought, games last season, we had patches where we were so dominant, but we just didn't kill the game off. So I think getting that second goal before half time was crucial, because then we allowed ourselves to take the foot off the gas. And even though they came back into the game a little bit, I mean, we had the luxury of having the 2-goal lead to allow that slightly. So yeah, I think we're already looking far more clinical than we were at the back end of last year.
No, 100% agree. And do you think, George, that this was a kind of a bit of a statement performance, a bit of a marker laid down, a message sent to the sort of the other main contenders that Chelsea are here and we're to be taken seriously this year? I know it was only Arsenal, but the record against Arsenal's not been good in recent years, and it's a difficult away game regardless of the form they're in. So do you feel that we've kind of laid a marker down there as we move on to Liverpool next week?
Yeah, definitely. I think we've looked strongest so far. I mean, United dropping points earlier away to a Southampton side that I've tipped to go down. You've got City already losing one of their games this season. So really, I mean, that we're picking up points, those little points that might make the difference when it comes down to it. And I mean, Arsenal, we should be blowing that team over, but we have struggled with them, particularly with Arteta, and it's not an easy game, and we haven't got an easy game Saturday evening either against Liverpool. But I mean, if we were able to win that one, I mean, it's going to be a fantastic start for us, and I have every confidence we can do that. And Liverpool don't look that convincing to me either, so the stronger start, the better. But it's definitely a marker. I mean, Lukaku looks scary. I think teams will really struggle to cope with him. And we look the complete package. I was saying to you how excited I am about this squad, and we've documented that so many times that I really do believe this squad is the strongest we've had for a long, long time.
Yeah, I have to 100% agree with that, mate. It's a really exciting project that's going on at the moment. I think we're building something pretty special. The squad is brimming with talent all over the pitch. And it just feels like the missing piece of the jigsaw has been added with Lukaku. And it was a great debut for him, a goal, a man of the match performance, and terrorising the defenders. So hopefully that may continue. But as I said at the start, I finished Arsenal 0, Chelsea 2. The unbeaten start to the season continues. and we roll on to Liverpool at Anfield on Sunday, and Lukaku up against Virgil van Dijk. But guys, as always, leave your thoughts in the comments below. Do you agree with us? Make sure you smash like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.